Hi YouTube! Tonight I am making salsa. So the steps that you need to do to make salsa. I'm going to take you through each one of these steps. After you wash your tomatoes and get them nice and clean, you're going to need to go ahead and scald them in hot water. Must be a rolling boil, 3 minutes, right? So I just now started timing because this just started rolling boiling, right? So once this step is done, to take them out of the hot water, I use something like this. You put them in a cold water bath. You've got to use ice cubes in here. You've got to stop the cooking process. You want them cool. And it helps you because now what I've got to do is, and I'm just going to pick this up, I'm going to peel the skins off, which makes it super, super easy. I know it doesn't seem like it, but this will just peel right off. I'm going to cut the tops off, and then any imperfections like that, that's just basically on the top, right? So once I, take my scissors and kind of cut that. But if you notice that when scalding them, it peels the skin right off. So super, super, super easy. If you notice, it's not taking me any time at all. Somebody's going to go, you're not using Roma tomatoes. No, I'm not. You don't necessarily have to. There are certain tomatoes that make the best salsa. I like to use whatever I have. In this case, a friend of mine has overabundance of tomatoes in her garden. My tomato plants are done. So I have been thankful. I know somebody who's giving me plenty of tomatoes. So I'm just going to peel these off real quick, and then we'll talk about the next steps. So I'll be back. Okay, so we scalded the tomatoes. Then I just put them on a cookie sheet to catch the water. Put them in my colander. Don't laugh, I've had this one for 30 years. The company's still in business and it's lifetime, and I could contact them and they would send me a new one, but I haven't done it yet. So yeah, don't laugh at my colander. So what I've done here, right? So I've scalded these, I've taken them out of the ice water, put them in right here. And then I have a metal colander, and I put it here. So then I put my cutting board on top of it. And guys, it's a lot of tomatoes, so I'm not putting them down the disposal, so I'm just tucking them into a bag. And then I'm just going to go ahead and throw them away, or, I can take them out in the field if I wanted to, but I won't because I don't want to worry about raccoons because, we live out in the middle of nowhere. So this is what it is. I took off the skin, right? I just peeled it right off. And so this is, it just all comes off. I cut that little piece off there, peel off all the skin, toss it in the bag, cut the top. This is what I get. And then I go ahead and process it. You could use a food processor, you could use your blender. I am in no way advocating a certain brand that you see in my kitchen. I have my favorite things. I'm a Pampered Chef nut. Of course, I have, this. I won't mention the names, but I'm sure a lot of you own it. I do use this instead of the food processor attachment. It's just easier. This is some of the other ones that I've already processed, and then I just pour it in here. And then I just keep track of how many ounces that I'm getting. Because when you need to follow the recipe, and again, I'm not advocating a certain brand, okay? Ball company, a lot of people do it. So I then put my vinegar into the pan. I need 10 cups of tomatoes. So we're going to pour 10 cups in here. And then we're going to go ahead and mix all this up and get it nice and heated. It's got to get, and I'm looking, I believe it's 200. And I am going to use the tomatoes, half a cup of vinegar, 1 pouch of this. And we're going to get it in here, we're going to heat it up, and then we're going to go ahead and get it into the jars. So I will be back here in a little bit and go ahead and show you the next step, recap what I've done, and Guys, I had someone today tell me they couldn't possibly can. It's too hard. It's not, I swear. You just have to find a mentor maybe, or maybe someone, someone like me that cans. You could help them a couple of times. Super easy. So we'll be back, okay? Okay, once it's in your saucepan, the vinegar's in here, the seasoning packets are in here, the tomatoes are in here. It's a double batch. It's really full. I don't normally make a double batch. Need to let it boil to a rolling boil. Turn it down. Let it simmer for 10 minutes, and I'll be back. Okay, so time to fill the jars. What you're going to need for this step, by the way, and you can't probably tell, but I use the high heat sanitize setting on my dishwasher, so the jars are smoking hot right now. I just took them out. I always use the dishwasher. You're going to need a funnel so you don't get anything around on the top of your lids, because that way you get a good seal. So buy you one of these. They have a plastic version as well. Really super, super nice. You're going to need a ladle, and that is just to scoop and pour in with. This is the best thing I have found to use. And then you're going to want to sanitize your lids. You're going to want to get them nice and hot, including the rings. I put my rings in at the very last, let them sit for a few moments, and then put them on the jars as I go. So I'm going to go ahead and fill the jars, and we can kind of recap everything after I've done that step. I did forget, you'll need some handy dandy tongs, because when you're taking this stuff out to put it on your jars, this is going to be really boiling hot. So I did say grab a nice pair of tongs. That way you can take everything out of the boiling hot water. So I'll be right back, okay? Before I put these in, because I have a glass top stove, so I cannot can on the glass top. It won't hold the weight of a water bath canner. So before I go to the next step, I'm going to go ahead. I put the rings on. Everything's really hard, so you can't just grab this and pick it up and carry it to put it in the pressure canner. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my tong things and go ahead and get these loaded. But when you get these on, go ahead and put the rings on, but kind of come off like a quarter turn after you get the rings on. So you don't want them so tight that, they're crammed on. So put them on kind of snug, and then come off about a quarter turn. And let's get them loaded. This is called a Carey Smart Canner. And this is a pressure cooker. You can brown meat. So if you're going to do a pot roast, you can brown it in here, leave it in here, add whatever you're going to add, your potatoes, your carrots, and all of that. You can go ahead and do all that. And I can do a video on pressure canning a pot roast for you later, because we absolutely love it. It's so much quicker than putting it in an oven bag or even putting it in a crock pot. So handy dandy. I'll do another video on that later. But this has a water bath setting on it. So I've got a glass top stove. I cannot do water bathing on my glass top stove. The brand that I have does not recommend for you to do any type of canning whatsoever on the glass top stove. It can't hold the weight of the jars when you're water bath canning them. So, put about an inch of water above the lids. I'm going to go ahead and get this set and hit start. That's all there is to it. Now, on this, we've got to make sure that the exhaust is open when you're water bath canning, okay? Very important on that aspect. And the best thing I could say is look at it from the side and see if you see, a little bit of smoke coming up in about 6-7 minutes, and if not, go ahead and open it. If it's closed, I would use a pair of tongs or my jar lifter to open it, because once it starts to get pressure in there, it's really, really, really hot, okay? So, water bath setting, and I don't know how well you guys can see that. You see the water bath or steam. So, in this case, it says 40 minutes. I always do an extra minute or two. I'm just weird, but it just seems like that extra minute or two makes a huge difference on my Carey canner, okay? So, the directions say water bath can, 40 minutes. I do a couple extra minutes on the Smart Canner. It doesn't start until the pressure starts to build up and everything gets heated. So this will keep going around and round and round until everything inside here gets to the temperature that it needs to be for the water bath canning set. And then it'll start, and then you'll see the clock show up, and it'll start to count down, and then it'll beep when it's done. You'll need to let all of the pressure come out of here before you can open the lid. It's a safety mechanism, okay? So very important on that. But if you have a glass top stove, or maybe you have just one of those little apartment stoves and you really want to learn how to can and you haven't been able to, guys, this thing is amazing. I have used this. I've canned all kinds of stuff. I've done jellies. I've done cooked jellies. I've done 3 types of cooked jams. I did, let me think what I do. Apple pie filling. I did pickles. I've done green tomatoes because I like fried green tomatoes. I've done salsa. I've done spaghetti sauce. And what am I missing? I know, I feel like I'm missing something because you guys know me, I've been canning all fall. So I also put away corn, but I did blanch that. I didn't can it, okay? So, but with my Carey Smart Canner, I've done apple pie filling, applesauce, green tomatoes, so I can fry them later. I've done salsa and spaghetti sauce. So, and then cooked jams. I've done pear jam. I tried peach. Never done peach jam before. Don't know if we'll like it, but I did peach. I did peach pie filling. I did apple pie filling. And then I did applesauce. And all of that I used in my Carey Smart Canner. So I'm going to wrap this video up. I can do more on the canner later. And then I'll just do a headspace video for the jars. So that way when you see your different recipes, you'll know where the little lines are on the jars, and I'll do one of those later. So please don't be a troll and do negative. And you know, if this isn't the type of video and you didn't learn anything, don't be negative, don't be nasty, don't be hateful. We need to empower each other. We need to lift each other up. We need to bring sunshine to everybody every day. There's enough negative in this world. Please hit like. Please subscribe to my channel. Let me know if there's something that you really want to see. I'll be doing some soap here soon. And, you know, I'll go ahead and use this Carey Smart Canner a little bit more and show you guys how to do that. And I'll even just do a quick video and recap the salsa. Remember, we scalded the tomatoes in boiling water 3 minutes. We cooled them off in an ice bath. We then took the skins off. We processed them in a food processor or blender. And then we added we followed the recipe. We added our vinegar, the tomatoes, the seasoning packets. We brought it to a boil, boiled it 10 minutes, simmered it another 10. I didn't boil it for exactly 10. And then I used the dishwasher to do my jars. You can go ahead and have a big pot on the stove, boil your jars, boil your lids. Guys, use your dishwasher. Use the sanitize and the high heat wash. Throw your clean jars or dirty jars in the dishwasher. Let them go all the way through and then grab them as soon as they're done, okay? Best way to do your jars, use your dishwasher. And then now they're in here. We're going to wait for this to get going. And if you want, I'll go ahead and jump back on here in a minute when the timer has kept going. So I'll be back. Okay, real quick. I was doing dishes, sorry. So we're counting down. The steam's coming out the top. It's just a little bit right now because it's only obviously been going for about 5 minutes. as far as actually working, water bath setting. So I'm going to get off here. I got more salsa to do, but I'll do a really quick video on salsa, and that way you don't have to do 15 minutes of this. So you guys have a great evening, and I'll talk to you soon. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe.